Native Americans make up less than 2% of the entire American population. Many ancestors were lost because of disease, enslavement, or social disruption. It's estimated natives went from 112 million people to 250,000 by the 1900s, and only less than 10% live in Wisconsin today. Boarding schools were run by the government or churches. Boarding schools would punish children if they spoke their native language, either with physical punishment or starvation or hard labor. The American Indian Religious Freedom Act of 1978 was put into action, which allowed natives to participate publicly in powwows and other traditional practices. Wisconsin is the home of 11 native tribes. With the help of some Oneida Nation and Ojibwe and Ho-Chunk individuals, join us as we learn about the history of what Native Americans have gone through in America and how they hold on to the beauty of their culture through the decades. This is Wisconsin's Native Roots. As time goes by, many cultures might be lost because of the younger generation not knowing how to keep their traditions alive. However, young Native American woman Lila Keene, who is a part of the Oneida, Ojibwe, and Lakota community, elaborates on how it is growing up Native American as a first-generation student. She attended ICS in Franklin, Wisconsin, where she learned her native language, which inspired her to go to college and be an Oneida language teacher.
We learned a lot about our culture. We learned our language from K4 to 8th grade. We did monthly ceremonies, monthly powwows. We even did Thanksgiving feasts, and I just enjoyed it a lot. Behind me is a piece to a fancy shawl outfit. It represents a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. That's why we have the ribbons. Usually the person that's designing it makes it unique to who's dancing in it. So I have eagles here. They represent my grandma's sky name, which was Eagle Woman in Anishinaabe. The reason I wanted to start teaching was because I wanted to teach my language that I've been learning for such a long time. And I think that Sunkwe Disu, which is also known as the creator, brought me here to just keep our language alive and keep it revitalized. And I just want to help the generation that isn't here yet. I just want to be there for when they get here to help them learn our language. My favorite phrase is gonna go. It means to have peace within yourself. And I like to live by that because one of my main priorities is peace within myself and to just keep a peaceful mindset, have a peaceful mentality and lifestyle. My favorite cultural event to participate in are social dances. They're done among the Iroquois people, Haudenosaunee. And what we do usually is we sing, we dance, we visit with family and friends, and we try to keep our traditions alive by doing that. This is a ribbon skirt. It's usually worn by women. For men, there's ribbon shirts. Being Native American, we usually use a lot of ribbons on our clothing. These are beaded earrings. This is a barrette, and these are a different type of beading earring. This is a belt. It's also beaded. These are moccasins, split-toe moccasins that we wear to dance. Some favorite traditions of mine are beading. I love to bead. I love to sew outfits together. I like to keep my language alive. I also like to dance. I like to sing the songs that we made years ago. So those are just a few of mine.
Tradition, dancing, and family is something that is dear and closest to Wase's heart. Our Roots Say That We're Sisters is a mural at Marquette University by Mauricio Ramirez that showcases Wase. Wase is a UWM student learning more about her culture and language every day.
It was so exciting. My parents were so happy for me. I have 3 younger brothers, so they were like, oh cool, my sister's face up on the wall, but I know it really meant a lot to my parents to see my face up on a wall in the middle of a college. It was so cool. And my parents were very supportive. We'd come down and check on Mauricio's progress, and we came for the paint day Mauricio had for the community, and we got to come down and spray paint a few blocks. I feel like I did the Native American community proud going back to Indian community school. I was so excited to tell everyone about it there, especially the younger kids, and a woman that I'm friends with, her granddaughter, she wanted to come down and visit it. And so me and her came down here, and she was like, that's so cool. She's like, that's your face. And I didn't even have to tell her, like, hey, that's me up there. She's like, is that you? I was like, yeah. I am very honored to be a part of the Our Roots Say That We're Sisters mural because I get to be a part of that step forward of Native Americans and other cultures getting to be represented throughout the city of Milwaukee. I've been dancing since I was a very young girl. It is something that I grew up seeing my cousins and family members do. So growing up, of course, I wanted to keep on dancing. I've been dancing since I can walk. I was gifted my first jingle dress when I was very young from my relatives. My parents and family always made sure that my culture was a big part of my life, which included our ceremonies, our dancing, our language, and all of our traditions. Now that I'm older, I still continue to dance, and I travel across the U.S. going to different powwows, and I enjoy meeting new people. Growing up and my parents making sure my culture is a big part of my life has always been a big thing, so I try and maintain that while juggling school and traveling and living in the city. So I do hope that what I am doing continues to make my family proud. I've been dancing since I was younger because it was what I was taught to do, and I enjoy doing it. I love doing it. So I always want to make sure that I continue dancing. I encourage younger ones to, like my brothers or other kids that are entering the powwow circle. I continue to dance for my relatives that can't dance, especially my grandmother. One thing I do in my spare time is go back out to my middle school, which is Indian Community School. I enjoy going out there because I get to continue learning my language and culture, as well as getting to teach it to younger ones out there. I go out there to participate in Ojibwe language classes and the cultural events they host out there, such as deer camp, mini powwows, and social dancing.
Bonjour, we're here at the Indian Community School in a very special space that's called the Place of Nations. And that's because this space represents all of our tribal nations here in this part of Turtle Island. Coming down the middle here of Place of Nations is this beautiful copper fountain. You can see it make its bends as it comes down. Copper's always been a very special metal for us as woodland tribal people. The water comes down and that represents the Mississippi River. And we divided our tribes by being east of the Mississippi or west of the Mississippi. So over here we have the northeast. This is our woodland. This is where my people are from and where we are actually located here in Indian Community School. Here to my left, that would represent our northwest coastal relatives. Here in the center where I'm standing are the Great Plains. And here we have the mesa that's represented by this beautiful homemade furniture that gives you all of those cliffs along here. We've got our beautiful grandfather pine trees that were donated to us from the Great Menominee Nation. Over here we have our southwest relatives, and then here we have our southeast relatives. So we make this space and place for all of our children, because many of our children come from a variety of different tribal backgrounds. So welcome to our school and welcome to the Place of Nations.
Siobhan Marks is well known in the Native American community in Wisconsin. She's a part of the Eagle Clan and a lineal descendant of the Ojibwa band of Lake Superior, Chippewa. Siobhan is passionate about teaching Native women about the original dress of their ancestors, also known as our grandmother's dress.
Pre-contact and early contact, and we actually have illustrations of that time. Our grandmother's dress was made out of deer hides, and it was specifically 2 deer hides. The iconic straps that come down, that in modern times have given this dress a name of a strap dress, we try really hard not to call that a strap dress. That's the colonizer's name for it. There's no language about that in any of the tribal communities I've visited. So we know that those iconic straps were actually the legs of our deer. But the elements of our dress are ingenious. Our ancestors were so incredibly smart and brave and fought so hard to hang on to the design and the symbolism of what this dress represents. But more and more we're starting to see them. It used to be that I would have a lot of questions about what I was wearing. Now I have women approaching me and saying, oh, I get to see that in person. I've been seeing it on Facebook, or I've been seeing it on Instagram, or I was at a powwow and I saw someone wearing that dress and I couldn't get close. So it's really encouraging to see truly that with the help of dozens and dozens and dozens of women, we are truly bringing our grandmother's dress back. And just recently we did a 4-day workshop in Oneida for the Oneida Arts Program, where we had 6 women learning about this dress, making them for themselves. And it's really heartwarming to know the next time I go to a powwow, there'll be 6 more women there with me wearing their grandmother's dresses, and we can all dance together, and that just has the best feeling in the world. Last summer, for the first time in Milwaukee Area, so that is the tribal nation that I am a descendant of, we actually had a grandmother's dress special, and that was phenomenal. We had about 40 women, all different women that have taken these workshops and learned to make the dresses. We came out and we did a dance special. Smoky Town was the host drum, and they actually wrote a song for us, and it was a really powerful, uplifting, moving time to know that we could bring this dress right back to our own community. There was a time when our people were not allowed to sing our songs or sound our drums or do our dances, and while our ancestors tried very hard to keep our ceremonies and our ways and our language alive, those things had to go underground. That all changed in the 60s and 70s, and then in 1978 with the American Indian Freedom of Religions Act made it feasible again for us to be able to practice our ceremonies again. The powwows that we enjoy today basically came out of those years where we were not allowed to gather. It started as pageants. We would put on essentially shows, exhibitions. Our ancestors would do that so they could not only practice and celebrate language, culture, wear our regalia, sound our drums, sing our songs, but also to earn a little money because tourists would come through to watch those shows or perhaps buy our beadwork or baskets. The powwows we have today are really lovely. They are a major gathering for us. Many of our nations gather together any weekend over the summer. There'll be multitudes of powwows going on, and they continue into the spring, fall, and winter as well. And essentially there's 2 types of powwows. There's what we call a traditional powwow, and then there are contest powwows. And they're both very important. They're both highly desirable and attended. The traditional powwows are really exhibition of our dresses. And by exhibition, I mean we come out in, it's the men first. Our veterans always lead. Behind the veterans comes our royalty, and we actually do for each tribal nation, most of them anyway, they're our tribal royalty. We're always trying to uplift and encourage our youth. So we have young women, young men that are representing their tribes. And then come our men. The men always lead the powwow, and we start with men's traditional. And then behind the men come the women, and we start with women's traditional. Behind the women's traditional are several categories, and what you're going to see, and much to everyone's delight always, are those beautiful jingle dress dancers. We have contemporary jingle dress dancers, and we have our traditional jingle dress dancers. I happen to be a fan of our traditional jingle dress dancers. They are carrying forth again the dance as it was traditionally given to us that came out of Lodge teaching that healing. So that is what our young women, as well as our older women, we have women still wearing jingle dresses, and they're well into their elder years, and it's always beautiful to see that whole span of ages for our women. They're dancing a beautiful dance that represents healing. There's sidestep, there's straight songs. They never go backwards. Everything is forwards. We try to dance in what is called an S pattern. We each have our individual kind of style. It depends on where you grew up, what your teachings were. But our traditional jingle dress dancers, it's always very iconic, very beautiful. They tend to not use fans. Again, they aren't going to go backwards. They aren't going to do spins and kicks. Our teachings are that we keep our feet close to Mother Earth as we're doing our different steps. It's a very graceful and beautiful dance. The jingle dress also has a part in our grandmother's dress story. In the early 1900s, again, very dire time for us. There were other epidemics happening. It was polio, cholera, typhoid, all of those things, and many more things were happening to our people, and we did not have the health care and resources that the other groups had. born out of a dream, out of a Medewan lodge in Mille Lacs, and that's in Minnesota, came a very important dress known as the jingle dress. And it's a healing dress, and that healing gave hope to our people. And the news of that kind of swept across Indian country. So there are actually photos that I share with women that will show a gathering where you see these grandmas are wearing jingle dress, jingle dress, jingle dress, one grandmother's dress, jingle dress, jingle dress. You can see the influence that that dress had. And I love jingle dresses, and I'm so glad that we still have them. In our Medewan Lodge, we still use them for healing ceremonies. We see them in powwows, and they're always beautiful there as well. But that is also a part of our story. Again, we were adapting to what would work for us, what could help our people. But our dress kind of quietly laid and had been waiting to be remembered. And I'm so glad that over the past 7 years, I've been able to start out with my uncle, but try and revive this dress, bring this back to our tribal communities. We've been doing that all over Canada, all over in Indian country in the US, and I'm so glad that there are women that have an interest and are picking up and making this dress again. And we try to share with them all of the cultural pieces of the dress, why we make it the way we do, what that symbolizes, and to take them back through each era. So as they're wearing their dress and they're out there and people are walking up to them and saying, I don't recognize that, what are you wearing? They will be able to articulate the story of that dress and be able to explain, this is not a jacket, these are detachable sleeves. I can slip out of them, I can flip them around me. And that's what our grandmothers have been doing since time immemorial. And they've taken this dress through 3 very difficult historical eras, and we, as our modern day women here in 2023, we are all part of that reclaiming era, bringing this dress back, reclaiming it as our own, and sharing those teachings with our women, our girls, and our communities. And it's just a beautiful time and a story that I have the honor of being able to share, as well as other women with me, and I'm so grateful for that honor.
The Ho-Chunk Nation, this is the homeland. Our roots go back thousands of years. The importance of powwows is the camaraderie, the social part, and the storytelling. When I was young, they used to bring me to the powwows. It was a way of life. We'd come over, we'd sing, we'd dance, and when I used to ask, when I was being in the inner city, I used to ask my uncle, and I was like, why are we doing this? He said, we're here to teach. We got to explain these stories, and we have to continue on. As I do these presentations and I talk about this powwow culture, because if I don't, nobody will know. It brings us all together. There's a lot of hate, there's a lot of greed, there's kind of a lot of things there, but if you go over to this powwow arena, there's love, there's music, we share stories, we share our styles of dance. You see people hugging, kissing, explaining views. We kind of bring our children, as they kind of get ready and they put on their outfit, their little feathers, and, you'll see a mother or a father, a young one, teaching their little one how to get ready. We're teaching our way of life, sharing stories, learning off each other. We're technically some of the oldest people here in our region would teach, these lessons and these thoughts and these styles of dance, and pretty soon it would be gone. Explain to them not only, what you're doing, but there's a reason why you're doing it. I love the dancing, I love the singing, I love the way that it makes people feel when they're out in the arena, and also the people that are watching. Sometimes we dance for the people that can't dance, not only for our children and the native children, but all children. Whoever wants to learn, everybody should have that right to learn. It should not be condoned to one tribe or one people. If you want to learn, ask.
The powwows that we celebrate today came out of basically a period of pageants. Powwows were not always with us. We were gifted or borrowed those from our relatives out west. There was a time when we could not gather until actually 1978 with the American Indian Freedom of Religions Act that came through, that we could gather and hold our ceremonies.
Native Americans experienced hardships and struggles to protect the integrity, history, and tradition of their culture. Today, they keep their past alive and legacy thriving by learning from one another and sharing their elders' ancestral stories.